No Way Home as part of Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So some quick background info before getting into this. Spider-Man, the character, his movie rights has been owned by Sony Pictures. And I'm sure if anyone's been following Spider-Man, they're familiar with Tobey Maguire and his movies directed by Sam Raimi back in the early 2000s, and then the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. Going up to now, Tom Holland, the new Spider-Man, and the fact that he was able to be in some of the Marvel movies has been great. So with these movies, Sony Pictures have control of the character. Disney has other licensing rights with Spider-Man, like merchandise and comics, but Sony controls the movies. That's where they own Spider-Man. So how Marvel acquired Spider-Man is a little bit of a story. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, that movie did not make as much money as it should have. Sony lost money on that movie. So they made a deal with Disney saying, all right, you can produce films, but still under our control. You can direct the films, you can do whatever. So they directed Spider-Man Homecoming, which received critical acclaim. Fast forward to that, Spider-Man Far From Home, released in 2019. That movie made $1 billion, well over $1 billion. The highest grossing Spider-Man movie, beating Spider-Man 3. After seeing that huge success, Disney got in over their heads and said, hey, we want 50-50 of the cut. And Sony's, yeah, no. Spider-Man was back to Sony.
What are you doing here?
And fans hated that whole thing, so they renegotiated the deal. So Disney would still produce the Spider-Man film, while Sony still has control of overall the character. Moving forward to the present, Tom Holland's contract ends with this Spider-Man movie, which no one is really talking about. But after Spider-Man No Way Home, he's done playing the character unless he renews his contract. I really enjoyed his Spider-Man, especially given how young he is. I thought he would have been able to play Spider-Man for quite a few movies. But, it sucks. But then again, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, he said he was done after a certain point, but yet they kept bringing him in and renewing his contract, paying him. So, who knows? The future is open to that. But going back to Spider-Man No Way Home, they entered production as early as Far From Home, and because of complications with the deal, it got pushed back. Now it's going to release December 17th of this year, mainly due to COVID-19. And I think it's going to be an interesting movie. Given the cliffhanger of Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm really interested to see how they follow up on that. I don't know what they're going to do with the film, how it's going to go. I know some of the characters from the Tobey Maguire movies are going to be in the film. Like the actor who played Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2, Alfred Molina. He's going to be in the film. So it's going to be really interesting how he ties in. It seems like they're going to do the multiverse theories that a lot of fans have made. Because allegedly Tobey Maguire and the other Spider-Man is going to be in the movie. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. I really want to see how, and storyline wise. Because also they have one of the villains, Electro, from the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. He's going to be in the movie, Jamie Foxx. So it's going to be interesting to see how the plot of the movie is going to unfold. I'm excited for it as a Spider-Man fan. Currently, it's only being made and released in theaters as opposed to Disney+. Hopefully conditions are ideal by the time December rolls around. Because currently there's no way to stream it, unlike how HBO Max has been handling their movies, where DC films and other movies will get a limited release on HBO Max, then they'll release on theaters. I think personally that's a smart way to do it, but understandably so, Disney wants to make their money. They haven't even released Black Widow yet, and that movie was set and released in November. Not November, it was the summer, I believe, of 2020. Then it got pushed to November, now it's released later this year, so this movie has already been pushed back so much, they're definitely going to lose money if they just release it on Disney+. So overall, looking forward to it. As a huge Spider-Man fan, I'm looking forward to Spider-Man getting his third movie finally. The last reboot of Spider-Man did not get a third movie, which was really unfortunate. Thanks again for listening to the podcast.